Hi everyone, my name's Mike and welcome to the latest video in this series on classic bikes that we're doing. But today's video is a little bit different. I'll just set the scene for you. I lived in Australia for many years and I came back 7 years ago, and I was working down in London and I was living up in North Wales. So I used to come home at the weekend. I was very time poor and obviously I wanted to spend as much time as possible with the family, but I also wanted to go riding with the guys, and having moved back to the UK I didn't have a bike at the time. So I wanted a bike that I could ride with the guys who had the classic bikes. My days of roaring around the place in the past, you know, I used to race when I was younger. Stuart and I, one of the other lemon drizzle team, we used to race Yamahas years ago. So the bike I was looking for was something that would be really reliable. I didn't want to have to come home on a, you know, I'd come home for, I'd have 2 days a week basically at home with the family. I didn't want to come home and to go for a ride on a Sunday. I didn't want to spend all day Saturday fettling the bike and getting it ready. I just wanted something that I could just turn on, put petrol in, kick the tyres and go and ride, and then forget about it for the next 2 or 3 weeks, you know, while I got on with life. So I had to think, and I thought, what sort of bike would suit? Now, I've always been a lifelong lover of Italian bikes. I've had Italian bikes over the years. They're my main passion really, is Italian bikes. But I'd never owned a Moto Guzzi. But I've always had a fascination for one, dating back to when Dave and I, as 17-year-olds, went down to Chris Clark Motors in Wymondham, I think it is, near Norfolk, and he traded in his, I think it was a 77 Bonneville Special, a black and gold one, and he traded it in and got this beautiful Le Mans ice blue, what is now known as a Mark I Le Mans, and we rode that back 2 up, you know, 17-year-olds, what were we thinking of? So we rode it all the way from Norfolk to the northwest here, when, you know, couldn't even think about it these days. But since that day I've always been fascinated with Moto Guzzis, but I've never owned one. I didn't own one when I was in the UK because, as I said before, Stu and I were racing Yamahas and I was up to my neck in 2-stroke Yamahas and race tracks and things. Then I went to Australia and it was quite expensive over there, so I never had one. So when I came back here I thought I really fancy one, and the bike that caught my eye was the Griso, the 1100 Griso, because it ticks all the boxes for me. They're absolutely stone reliable. They look so good. They look superb. To me, they're one of the best looking bikes ever made. I know it's a personal thing. Also, the handling on them is fantastic. You know, for such a big, heavy, long bike, it's top notch. Really good. I know Piaggio spent a lot of money on creating the Griso and you know, that series of bikes. So it's got shaft drive, so I wouldn't have to worry about a chain, and you know, fit modern tyres to it, and it's about 75-80 rear wheel brake horsepower, so it's quick enough for a spirited ride, but it would fit in with the classic bike, so it would serve the purpose of a modern retro. So, you know, we're talking about the Enfield, it kind of served that same sort of purpose. So even though it isn't a retro in itself, it's just got that same sort of vibe. So it's a middle ground between a sporty bike and something, you know, bit easier going. My litmus test is how would I feel on it at the Classic TT, and I've taken it to the Classic TT a number of times. In fact, I loaned it to Stuart and he took it to the Classic TT and we all loved it over there, and yeah, it was just fantastic bike. So modifications I did to mine, I had a Terminioni exhaust on it, and also a Beetle map. There's a very clever guy in Australia, goes by the handle of Beetle, and he produces these really good maps So I upgraded that, and it really smoothed out the power delivery and made it a pleasant bike to ride. So in the end it was fantastic. So what I've done with this video is I've put together a montage of clips of how this bike fitted into my life. Since then I've sold the bike. Actually, my brother got into motorcycling. He wanted to get back into motorcycling a couple of years ago, so I sold him the Griso because we'd go out riding, and I'd loan him the Griso because I had a Ducati as well and a BMW. So I'd loan him the Griso. He loved it, so he bought it off me and he used it for a couple of years, and he's since sold it and bought a V85 TT because he wanted something a little bit lighter. But yeah, John loved it, I loved it. In fact, it's the bike I wish I hadn't sold. So as I said, I put together a montage of clips, and it just shows how it fits in with what I needed at that time, which was absolutely perfect. So on with the show. I hope you enjoy it. Just before we do, please remember to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the videos so far, and thank you so much for the support that you're giving to us. It's fantastic. You know, we're really enjoying all the comments, and very happy to see how the last video, the Square Fit 4 video, went. Richard's absolutely knocked out by the response, and we all are. So thank you so much, and we've got plenty more coming, so keep in touch with us. So thanks guys, and as I said before, on with the show. Actually, what I might do, stick it on its stand and have a look at it. So there it is in all its glory. Look at that view. That's mega, isn't it? Yeah. So I still reckon it's a great looking bike. When Dave came and dropped it off, I looked out the window and I hadn't seen it for a few months, and I thought, that is a cool looking bike. And it still is. I think we're just going to be plagued by cars. It sounds great too. It's all rattly and like a proper motorbike should be. Okay. I've got to watch out for sheep here. Oh, there's some furry friends in the road. Don't want to scare them. Mint sauce! But this bike is ideal for this sort of stuff. You know, it's not a blasted over the top of the mountain 180 mile an hour stuff, but twisty, windy little nadgery lanes like this, it's absolutely in its element. Thank you very much. Most people are very polite and friendly. I suppose this is like a big supermoto, really. It is not a fast bike by any stretch of the imagination, but I like it. It's got heaps of character. Big thumping growling engine. Resikai. And it's just got heaps of personality. I love this clip. This is me and Dave. Dave's on his Laverda and we're on a ride in mid-Wales. Remember the age of his Laverda? Oh look, it's sticking with me. Great fun. Right, so that's Snowdon, that's a Guzzy, that's a Guzzy.
Black Guzzies, yes, cool ones.
Black Guzzies. Fire it up, let me hear it. Sounds good following it.
Hang on.
Oh my god, uncontrollable. Mine does the same. So this is Snowdon Horseshoe, and that's Penna Pass up there, where you park to climb Snowdon. So I'm just supplementing the original commentary here. This is the whole Drizzle gang. There's Stu on the Guzzy, Dave on the Laverda, Rich on his trophy, Andy on his rocket ship, and Griso on his Hornet. So this is the Glen Helen section, so we're coming up to Laurel Bank. This is a very tricky section because it's always a bit, well, it's not damp, but it's a bit murky under the trees here. I'm not 100% sure, but I think part of this is called the Black Dub. No, this is Laurel Bank, Black Dub's after it. So what I'm doing is I'm just showing how good the Griso is in this sort of situation. I'm on an R1100S and that's my Griso that I've loaned to Stu, and it's just perfect for, you know, taking to the classic TT. It fits in with the classics. It's got enough zip. Stu rides it really well. He knows the Isle of Man. So here we're riding with Dave on this Laverda. This is the Cronkavody Strait, and we got ourselves a convoy. Yeah, whatever, mate. But we had great fun on that trip. So yeah, the Griso fits in with the classics. And okay, this is Quarry Bend. So if we can get a nice smooth run through Quarry Bend. Fabulous. Formation flying through Quarry Bend. And onto the Sulby Strait. So Dave is an owner of many Guzzies in the past. He's had a few modern ones. 2 Guzzies. Yeah, so he's owned for 1100 Sport, V11 Sport, 1200 Sport, Stelvio, plus a lot of older ones. He bought himself a Griso to join me. But his is a 1200 version. So we're now on both on the Grisos on a beautiful road in North Wales in the Tannant Valley. It's a bit like that road in the Isle of Man, the Slock or whatever it's called. And it shows that these, you know, even though they're long bikes, they handle the tight stuff really well. But you can see his bike's got a bit more power than mine. I'm having to rev to keep up, so his has got
about over 100 horsepower, whereas mine's probably about 80 horsepower in reality. Not a huge difference, but they are really good handling bikes, and you don't need anything more for the road. You know, if you're riding with similar machines, then you know this is fantastically enjoyable. Just listen to that. Like a pair of Spitfires. Oh, this is where the road tightens up.
Well, I think last time we came down here, I think I was 2 up on this, and I think it was here. Yeah, I did what he just did then.
So this is a great trip we went on. We went to the Picos, and we based ourselves in Hotels, and we had a fantastic week. The weather was absolutely glorious. The roads are incredible. If you've never done it, go. It's motorcycling heaven. So you can see the Griso is suited to this as well. You know, she's put some Hepco and Becker side bags on it. With the Sebo frames, and superb. You know, it's got a little screen on the front so you can do touring on it, and it handles these roads lovely. So this is at the TT in Classic TT in 2017, and I suppose what I'm trying to show here is as well as a bike that you can gently ride round on with your classic mates, it's also a bike that you can take out and give a bit of a spanking to. Like, it's not a quick bike, let's not kid ourselves, it's not a sports bike. If you're on a 5-blade or whatever, you'd be doing almost double the speed here, but it's great though. It fits in with the whole classic vibe, but it also gives the enjoyment of being able to have a spirited ride. So this is the 33rd milestone, or Keppelgate as it's sometimes known. I love this bit. The tarmac is just perfect. It's fantastic. It's probably one of my favourite bits of the course. Now we're dropping down to Kate's Cottage, and we're looking down on Douglas now. See, it takes a good revving, and it loves it. It spins up. It's got plenty of torque low down, but you can also rev it. And listen to it. It sounds great, doesn't it? So this is a Craig na Bar we're coming down to, or the Craig, and we're in the 30s again here. So it was de-restricted. There was no speed limit in the previous bit going over the mountain, but you're back down into the 30 miles an hour. So this is mid-morning I think, and we just pull up at the car park, and in the classic TT time it's always full of really nice, interesting bikes.
Oh, this is the French Laverde. It's an ugly one.
That is full on, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It's got. But I wonder what Maxton he's got. Maxton's put the shocks on it. I don't think this is the French one. No. Fine.
Oh God, what an idiot. See what I did there? Put the bike on its side stand without putting the side stand down. What a f***ing idiot.